Before this video begins, let me take you back in time. A time when Brawl Stars was at its absolute peak. Do you remember Masteries? Yeah, those things. Grinding for Gold 3 and the coveted Brawler title? Pretty awesome, right? Now, do you remember the 1000 Masteries event? Well, during that event, I decided to create a cursed account. But I didn't want to spend any money, so after I completed the tutorial, I found a backroads way to the shop, where I found 10 free star drops for the event. Now, most of the star drops were or so I went through the whole process a couple times, and I opened star drops a couple times, until finally, on my 4th try, I got this. This was the brawler I was going to do it with. But with the massive amounts of mastery we were going to get, I foolishly wanted to make this just a little harder on myself. I was going to be stuck at power level 1 this whole time. I started the journey of this cursed account just like any other. I soared through the first bot game with no issue, and I got 55 mastery at 0 trophies. This is mastery I would normally get at 650 trophies, but because of the event, I gained mastery at a rapid rate. This was going to be fast. But then, in my second game, I realized something. I only do 500 damage per shot. It took me forever to take care of a bot primo. Imagine what it's going to be like when I try to get through power 11 brawlers with multiple power cubes. This power 1 challenge was going to be tough, but I can't worry about that right now. I need to focus on what I can control, which is getting through these lower trophy games and getting as many mastery points as possible. I flew through my next game, but then disaster struck. I died to bots. Luckily, I recovered nicely and hit rank 4, but more importantly, I had already hit bronze 1. This is great. Now I only need 24,000 more. Played a couple more games, and then I crossed 100 trophies. And now marks the time when being power 1 is extremely difficult. I had no idea how I was going to fare against these real opponents. These guys could have gadgets, star powers, even hypercharges, and I was stuck as a measly Edgar dealing 500 damage per shot. I actually didn't have much issue at the start of the real player games. I just needed to know my matchups. But then, I came across a frightening sight. A fellow Edgar with a hypercharge. This means he was power 11 and I had nearly no way to kill him. It was down to 3 brawlers and I had a cube disadvantage against this bull and Edgar, so I pretty much gave up. But the fact that I knew my matchups and got to 3rd place was good enough to promote me to bronze 3. And now, I was only 1 game away from 200... Never mind. I started experimenting with a new strategy in the middle of Feast or Famine. If I hid well in the middle bushes, no one would see me, and I would be able to pick up cubes and snag kills that way. Let's just say, it worked. And after a couple games, I was just 1 game away from Silver 1 Mastery. But as I loaded in, the worst thing that could have possibly messed up my rhythm happened. The map changed. I was going to have to find a new strategy on Flying Fantasies. And here's exactly what I did while I was thinking of a strategy. But then, before I could figure anything out, I reached top 4 and realized maybe this was the strategy that I needed to survive as a power 1 Edgar. Got me to silver 1, and heck, I even got a 1st place out of it. But ultimately, I thought bush camping was boring. So I decided that I'd step out a bit and see if I could pick and choose some matchups that were better for me. I found this berry, so maybe it would work. But right as I was building up my confidence, so I just stayed in the comfort of my little bush and waited as the lobby defeated itself around me. But sometimes I was surrounded from all sides and needed to take action. And sometimes I was just so intimidating that people gave me free wins. I'll take it. After bush camping for a disgusting amount of time, I finally got 4th and was rewarded with silver 2 mastery. It never ceases to amaze me how bad a power level 1 Edgar is against every single brawler. I couldn't even kill this Willow. For a long while, I just kept grinding. Whether it was bush camping or trying to kill brawlers, I slowly climbed up the ranks. I needed to climb the ranks because once I hit 500 trophies, I unlocked the ability to play with teammates. And rank up I did. After narrowly losing to this Frank, I finally reached 400 trophies, which means I'm just 100 trophies away from being able to finally play with my friends. There was a lot more shameless bush camping going on, but just look at this. What am I supposed to do? I couldn't even kill a dadgum barley. But it got me to silver 3, so I really couldn't complain. I was grinding and getting up to higher mastery until I was just one game away from 500 trophies. I got into the game and got immediately surrounded. I was pinched, but I used the skills I had gained throughout the journey to survive the engagement. But alas, I fell. I didn't lose trophies, so I'm still one game away. Surely I can get it next game, right? Nope. Fourth time's the charm, right? It needs to be. But no, I lost again. And this is why power level 1 is just so difficult. There's no way for me to fight back because I have no health and no damage. I died to bots. It's ugly and it's 6th place, but I finally reached 500 trophies on Edgar at power 1 on a cursed account. And now that I had reached 500 trophies, I gave myself the ability to find some teammates. However, I chose to test the waters above 500 trophies, so I stayed solo for a while. And believe it or not, I actually fared alright against these guys. But then, reality set in, and I needed a change. I chose to assemble the best dream team ever. 2 of the executives of the CGL Discord server, Leb and Sam. We started off hot. I felt so much more secure in Trio Showdown. It felt like I had bodyguards taking down enemies around me and protecting me like I was the president or something. When one went down, the other was there to clean up. For the first time, I felt as though I was in control, and my game stats reflected it. It was beautiful, and as a result, I got to Gold 1 Mastery. Unfortunately though, this isn't even halfway to the final goal, Edgar's title. So we put our heads down and kept grinding. But after a few games of win streak, we got blitzed. We fought, but we got taken out early. We lost. And it was a huge reality check for me. I was swiftly reminded that I'm still just power 1 and that we can lose at any moment. I thought I'd be prepared for another win streak, but the very next game we lost again. Something needed to change, so we decided to lock in. Leb locked in on the Piper and won us a game. Then we got to our 600 trophy game, and nothing changed. Sam popped off on the bow to get our win streak to 5. Then we had this incredible 16 cube comeback. Just watch this. But unfortunately, this is where yet another problem started. I only went 0-4 that game with 11,000 damage. For whatever reason, Brawl Stars has a mastery threshold, in which you have to do a certain amount of damage or kills to get mastery. I didn't do enough, so that game didn't matter for the master. We had to make sure that I did get enough damage or got some kills to ensure I got credit for that game. And as a Power 1 Edgar, that was going to be very difficult. The next couple games were either losses or wins with no mastery. I mean, at least I crossed 700 trophies, but that didn't matter if I didn't earn any mastery. You kind of see my problem here now, right? I finally started the game off with a couple of kills, which ended up netting me gold 2 on the mastery track. Now, I was just missing one more rank up until I got the coveted title. This grind got so bad that my teammates had to surrender their own kills to let me get damage and to let me get kills just so they could go to bed at a reasonable time. Yes, we've been playing all night. Another part of it is if I get picked off early, it's extremely difficult for me to pick up cubes and frequently resulted in no mastery games because of, again, Power 1 Edgar. But we ended up hitting a bit of a groove and hit our stride as I picked up some really good games until finally I was gaining mastery points at a normal rate. All this led to our final game, and I'm just going to let it play out here. I finally reached the mastery at Power 1. Thanks so much to my teammates Leb and Sam for carrying me. I wouldn't have been able to do this without them. Now, this account rests in my cursed account storage club with a couple more needing to be pushed.